how do we start these things? I forgot.
I got this.
It's been so long.
Okay, ready? I've been thinking about this for like a week now.
Kaitlyn's got this, everyone. Let's do it.
Shit. Oh, perfect. Okay, I got it. Hey everyone, welcome back to Big Gay Energy. It has been a bit. How you doing? How you feeling? How are you guys doing? That was a question to you guys.
Was it?
I know. I'm trying to figure out how to answer it.
Yeah, are we okay? Are we back? That's what we're here to discuss.
Well, I was trying to say that we're not back, but like we are back, but we're not back.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, everyone at home listening?
We're back in the ether of podcasting.
We're alive.
But we're not.
That's the news. We're alive.
Yes. We're sorry if you were concerned or confused.
Or just didn't care.
Yeah, if you didn't care and you're like, what is this? We're sorry for that too.
I'm gonna title this Where We've Been with Such Sad Faces.
Yes.
Photoshop crying faces on ourselves.
Yeah, clickbait is great.
Yeah, sure.
Obviously, that is for the video version.
If you haven't noticed, we haven't been on the podcasting scene for almost 2 months. We decided to take a bit of a hiatus for our own health and well-being. Needed a little bit of a break from the podcast. We're here to assure you the podcast isn't done. Just took a little break.
I think it was decided for us, kind of.
Yeah.
The universe decided we needed to take a break.
Because we were going pretty hard for a while.
No, we were. And I feel like that is mostly my fault because I worked these girls to the bone. We were doing so many interviews.
We could have said no, but we all wanted to make this a success, and it felt like we were on a roll and we just wanted to keep going while we had all of these opportunities. And we ended up hitting a wall, basically. And when we hit that wall, everything in our personal lives came and smacked us in the face. So
yeah,
that is what started the hiatus.
And it's hard because we're growing so fast, basically. Once we interviewed Christina, it just kept snowballing. And so it's kind of like you're not forced, but you feel like you have to keep up the momentum and continuously grow to the point where we're getting 3, sometimes even 5 episodes out a week, which is insane and so much time. And when we all work full-time jobs, it's just not doable after a while, especially there's no room for any error, any personal issues. There's no room for.
So I feel like it was suffocating our lives in a way. And then also there were actual things that happened.
But I don't want people to think that we hated doing it.
No, we stopped didn't hate doing it.
So we wouldn't hate doing it.
Yeah. And we went so long because we loved doing it.
Yeah.
It just came to a point where where especially Theora realized that she was going to hate this if she didn't get a break. So
yeah, we're people. Our goal is to always bring you guys content that's worthy of the subject matter we're talking about. For me personally, I believe in the message, the goal of the podcast, which is to elevate and share, queer media and give those projects a platform to stand on their own. And, so we can kind of celebrate our community, because we don't always get celebrated the way we should. And not every projects get advertising like Warrior Nun, even though they should. And so, we were kind of hoping by us talking about it, we could share it with people who may not know about it, or give those projects the credit they deserve by diving very deep into them and pointing out all the wonderful things there are to appreciate about the projects. And so for me personally, I love doing that. I think it's really fun. But I got to a point mentally where it felt like work and not fun. And that, coupled with real life stuff that was really sad and like getting me depressed, like clinically depressed. I didn't want my mental state to bleed into the podcast, because the goal is to celebrate these projects, not be pessimistic about them or, you know, be uncelebratory about them. So I didn't want that, my personal stuff, affecting the podcast and like the episodes you're putting out, because that is not fair to the creators and to the projects, and that's for me not a way to like honor them and really talk about them. So for me, I needed to like step back and not really talk about it. And the thing that really broke me when it came to like the podcast and just like the content was the A League of Their Own season 2 announcement, which was basically we're giving you 4 episodes and then we're canceling this. So I've said multiple times on this podcast that like if that can't get renewed, there is no hope. And so for me, I felt all of that when it happened, and I do, you know, fell into a state of hopelessness when it came to just that, on top of like all the stuff. If you keeping up with America, it's not great legislative wise for like queer people, especially in like my I guess home state of Florida. It's not really my home state, but it's where I grew up.
It pains you to say that.
I'm from New York, so for me that's my home state. That was my home state, but I grew up there, and my immediate family is in Florida, so it's just very scary for me, where I feel like where my parents live, it's not safe to visit, and all that stuff. So that all kind of like happened all at around this time, where the podcast was like exponentially kind of like having a lot of content all at once. And so for me, I needed to kind of step back, find joy in media again. I really haven't been able to watch TV since that announcement, or like connect to it kind of at all. So you know, I didn't want that affecting the podcast personally. So that's why.
And to your point, it's like I know my mental state was affecting the podcast because there were some times where I feel like it did bleed into it and colored my thinking about projects that we were talking about or considering talking about. So, and I don't think I realized it until it was too late. So, sorry.
We have lost episodes. It's okay.
Yeah, there's some stuff you will not see
that we recorded.
Probably for the best, but
right. So
I think I was the first to start going downhill, and I was pushing myself so hard because I didn't want to let anybody down. And I've always been honest on here, and I want to keep being honest. About like a month and a half maybe. I think you could tell in our episodes that I stopped being in them. I didn't do as well in them. I was just, sometimes I go through things where I'm just hopelessness, and just with everything going on in the world and with what we're doing, it's just really hard to be hopeful when things just don't seem like they're going to get better. I have to stop taking comments to heart, because that was a big thing that I think really triggered it. There was a few comments I've had people say some things that made me not believe in myself, and I've always had issues with that. So I sat out of Warrior Nun episodes because I didn't think I was going to do well in them. I didn't want to hold anybody back, and just that kind of snowballed my thinking. I became very depressed to the point where I had to go to an intensive outpatient program, which luckily I'm getting discharged this month, but mentally it's just been really bad. And I don't want to go too deep because I don't want to like trigger anybody, but lucky to still be sitting here right now. There was many episodes where I would have panic attacks before or after, sometimes during, and Bree and Thea would have to calm me down. And it's just really hard to change your mindset when there's so many things going around you. this isn't relevant, but in group, I meant like most of my stuff is group therapy, and people like saying sorry for crying. I'm like, I have 3 hours of me crying on the internet. Like, don't you worry. Like, my trauma is all over. Everybody knows.
Here's the link.
Yeah.
Give us a view.
Actually, we do have a few more subscribers now. I would talk about the podcast.
Group therapy is good for many things.
Yes.
I think everybody can relate to some aspects of the hopelessness. I know I can, Kaitlynn. I get it, man.
But I wanted to talk about it, not to just like bring everything down, but just to show and like keep a conversation going about mental health, because I feel like it's still a stigma attached to it. People don't want to talk about not wanting to be here anymore, and it's just like not something anybody talks about. And I want you to know that we are people.
Basically, mental health is real. It shouldn't be stigmatized or just like shoved in the closet and ignored. It's something, it's part of life. We are human beings with both rational thought and irrational emotions, and we have, reconciling those two things is very challenging. And so sometimes you just need time to heal, mentally and emotionally, like you would from like a physical injury. And that's kind of where we've been at, and why we took a break. But it was a break. We didn't just like abandon the podcast like mid Warrior Nun. We're not Netflix. We didn't just like cancel everything for no reason.
On a cliffhanger.
On a cliffhanger. Yeah, no, literally. So
we really just had the urge to flip off Netflix, but
I canceled my subscription, so like
I would, but my mother watches it.
No, I made my parents had to get a new one anyway.
Yeah,
because there's that stupid rule they're trying to enforce. So at that point, we were like, "Why are we paying $20 a month for this? Fuck this."
Did that go into effect?
I think they tried, and then it didn't work, and they're like, "Oh, we're just kidding." But like, we already my family and I already parted our ways with our sharing of Netflix, and we just canceled ours.
Because mine is a part of my dad's Comcast package. Right now, I just hooked mine up to his because I pay for everything. Yeah.
Anyhow, so we're not Netflix. If you take away anything from this, Big Gay Energy has not been canceled. It's just
I will be honest. In the beginning, I had no idea where we stood. I'm like, is it just over? Did I lose my best buddies? But no, we met. We're good. We're gonna. Yeah, I guess we'll get into the next. I was debating on.
No, go into it. Go into it.
Go.
So where do we go from here, Kaitlynn?
Yeah, so we're not gonna be posting like our old schedule. We need to take things slow for right now. We'll record as we feel like it. Try to get some stability in episodes, but they're gonna be different. They're gonna look different. I'm gonna let Theora talk about how different they are, but sometimes you'll only see one or two of us. Sometimes you'll get all three of us. Yeah. So
it'll be a surprise.
It'll be a surprise. Yeah, it's like how much gay energy am I getting in this episode? It's kind of so it's like a game. It's like a game. Something to look forward to. For those waiting on the last two Warrior Nun episodes, Bree and I have every intention of finishing that. Those take a lot of like it takes me all week to prep my notes for that. Like it's very, very like time intensive to prep for it and not only film it. And if you're waiting on it, the length of those episodes. Like we really like to take time to like really get into everything, and we go scene by scene. So we will absolutely 100% finish Warrior Nun. We promise. We cannot tell at this time if that's the first thing we're gonna publish coming up when the hiatus breaks, or if we'll publish it down the line. But like we will absolutely finish the Warrior Nun deep dives. We promise. As far as other,
not the first thing. I would say most likely not the first thing.
We don't really know. We're trying to work out when we're gonna film our first like actual episode. Besides, like this is like a touch base, how you doing kind of thing. But again, we don't know. But we will absolutely finish it. So if you don't see Warrior Nun first, don't think we're abandoning it. We're going to finish it. We just TBD on when, but we will finish it. And as far as like the deep dive scene by scene type of format. We will not be returning to that right now. Eventually, when we have a project that we're very passionate about or has a lot to deep dive about, like a League of Their Own, like we will go back to that as, for certain projects in the future, but we won't be starting with that. So we're kind of going to do almost like the mini-sode kind of format that we've been doing, like we did with Carmilla, where we talk about like one piece of media and keep it to one episode. Or we're toying with the idea of doing like discussion topic type episodes, like who's your favorite queer superhero, and we all kind of like talk about our favorite pieces of media that are on based on that topic. So it'll be like focused in terms of like this episode is about this, but it's not going to be like a scene by scene breakdown of that thing. So we're hoping with that, like it's something manageable for us to do right now, and it will give a variety of different types of queer media, because not only is Netflix holding up, us getting queer media, but there's also a writer strike happening right now, so that's going to delay media,
which we're not mad about.
No, not mad. It's long overdue. They need to do this, but like in terms of like new content, like things are going to get delayed, like COVID delayed things. So hopefully with this, we can like get caught up on like everything that's happened in the past and what streaming stuff comes out in the future. And so we can have a variety of more stuff we talk about basically with the new format.
Yeah. I'm excited to see you guys again and just talk.
Yeah. And I guess last piece is interviews.
So we do have a few people reaching out to us for interviews, which is cool. But you might only see me doing interviews for a while. They're still up in the air. Again, no set timeline. When we know more, we will definitely talk more about what's going on. But this is basically us just like starting to gear up again.
Yeah, so interviews might be more infrequent than anything else, but we're not abandoning the interviews either. It's just we won't have like one a week like we used to.
Yeah, that is a lot. It doesn't seem like a lot, because in my brain I'm like, I want to do more, but then physically there's so much more that goes into it, so it's hard.
Yeah, it's very challenging. So
maybe I'll put out a video about all the work that goes into one episode one day.
Yes,
do it. So you want
to start to read a whole book just for one episode? But before we talk about our last section, which is just basically us talking about any media, or I guess things in some of our cases that we've been doing in our hiatus, just to give you more of our dynamic, because that's why you're here, right?
It's all about us.
But I mean, duh, that's why I'm here.
Something that I have been using, and if you don't know what this is, I'm so sorry, but ChatGPT.
Our friend,
yes, Kaitlyn's surprise.
Theora's ghostwriter.
It did not work out.
To be honest, if I take enough time to put stuff in there, maybe. If I'm like desperate for something to do later. ChatGPT has become a buddy of mine because I have to use it for work, but it's an AI writer, and it's actually quite smart, but I've been toying around with the idea. I want us to do a whole episode just reading fan fiction that this AI writes for us, and just see what we can come up with just random prompts. But today, I just wanted to see what we'd be doing if we weren't having all these mental health issues, but still were on hiatus. So I asked ChatGPT to write a funny short story about what the hosts, Bree, Kaitlynn, and Theora of the podcast Big Gay Energy, an LGBTQ plus media podcast, has been doing during hiatus. I have not read this whole thing.
Oh my god, yes.
But just the title itself is hilarious. So the title is The Big Gay Escape Room.
I mean, metaphorically?
I know. I need more info, Kaitlynn, but it's great.
Once upon a time, the podcasting trio of Big Gay Energy, Bree, Kaitlynn, and Theora, decided to take a break from their usually chaotic schedules to embrace a much-needed hiatus. I mean, they're not wrong so far. These three had been working nonstop discussing all things LGBTQ+ in media and pop culture, and desperately needed a breather. Now here's where we deviate.
I'm gonna open the podcast with this.
On a sunny Saturday morning,
wow,
the three met up at their favorite coffee shop, Caffeine Queens, to plan their break.
I'm sorry. That sounds amazing.
So owned by gay men.
I know, it's like a drag coffee bar, and I want to be there.
I feel like Josh would have opened something like that.
Yeah, for real.
While sipping on their rainbow lattes.
Okay, why aren't there rainbow lattes? Let's talk about that real quick. Somebody invent that.
What would even be a rainbow latte?
No, they actually do. I think they have something like that, but go ahead.
Color the foam. I don't know.
We're never going to get through this story.
No, we're not.
They brainstormed ways to unwind and spend their precious hiatus time together. Oh shit, I had the idea. After much deliberation, Kaitlynn had a fantastic idea. An escape room experience. You know what? That would probably be me.
It would. ChatGPT knows you.
Theora and Bree instantly agreed, as they had all heard about the legendary escape room called... Sorry. The Closet Chronicles.
Oh my god, that's a great name for a gay
winning.
It is winning.
It's also funny because I used the word chronicles in my documentary, so it's just like that word. That was just the first paragraph, guys. The next day, the trio showed up at the Closet Chronicles with excitement bubbling in their hearts. The escape room was a unique experience, as it was designed specifically for LGBTQ+ folks and allies, and promised to offer a thrilling and empowering journey through queer history.
It's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
So far, can someone do this?
As they entered the closet.
As they entered the dimly lit room, they were greeted by their fabulous guide, a drag queen named Miss Pandora, who sported a sky-high bouffant and towering stilettos. Miss Pandora was the name of my cat, by the way. Miss Pandora briefed the trio on their mission. They needed to solve a series of puzzles and challenges within 60 minutes to unlock a magical door and escape the room. With their hearts racing, the three friends eagerly began their quest. The first challenge was a test of their knowledge of queer literature. Okay, Bree and Theora, you're up. They had to identify famous authors based on quotes from their works. Bree, an avid reader, breezed through this challenge with a triumphant smile.
That checks.
Next, they faced a wall filled with images of iconic LGBTQ+ characters from film and television. Theora, a walking encyclopedia of queer media, identified each character with ease. And the friends... oh shit. Sorry, my brain just moved down. And the friends proceeded to the next room. My mom's gonna want to be here for this. Wait for it. As they entered the third room, they were met with a giant sparkling disco ball and the sound of ABBA's Dancing Queen playing in the background.
Yep.
This is actually hilarious. The challenge to perform the perfect dance routine from their favorite queer film. Kaitlynn, a dance enthusiast, took the lead and taught Bree and Theora the moves from the movie Pride, and they executed the routine flawlessly. Perfect. This is freaking hilarious, actually, because it got, like, all of us.
Yeah, it did.
With only 5 minutes left on the clock, the trio entered the final room, which was filled with colorful pride flags representing different LGBTQ+ identities. To unlock the door, they had to arrange the flags in chronological order of their creation.
Ooh.
Shit. Working together, they managed to complete the task just as the clock struck 0. I mean,
that sounds right.
Us.
That's hard.
Bursting through the magical door, Bree, Kaitlynn, and Theora were met with a shower of confetti and applause from Miss Pandora. They had successfully completed the Closet Chronicles and created a cherished memory during their hiatus. To be honest, I feel like this is something we would have done in Vancouver.
I would have loved to have done this.
Thinking that.
As the trio left the escape room, they couldn't help but laugh at the thought of sharing their big gay escape room adventure with their podcast listeners.
Wow, ChatGPT knows way too much.
It was the perfect mix of challenge, fun, and friendship that they needed during their break. Well, I would have said family, but you know what? Whatever, ChatGPT. And so the hiatus of the Big Gay Energy hosts was filled with excitement, laughter, and above all, the love and camaraderie that made their podcast such a hit. With refreshed minds and renewed energy, they eagerly prepared for their podcast return, ready to bring even more fabulous content to their adoring fans.
Damn.
ChatGPT is freaking amazing.
I don't know whether I should be concerned or excited.
Right. Yeah.
It
Mixed
is.
feelings.
Yeah. I don't know. Because, like, there's AI in video editing and photo editing, obviously, because you can do so much stuff. But I don't know. I feel like you still have to know some stuff to be able to manipulate things. So
Oh, you do.
So that's something at least. But you know what? Overall, this story
was
really good.
I wish that's what we were doing. So there you have it. That's what we would have been doing if all those places were real.
If our mental health wasn't down the drain.
Yes.
And you know what? Maybe we need to do this so our mental health isn't down the drain.
Well, you know, we try.
If anyone knows something like this, let us know. Maybe that'll be our next trip. But if you want us to do an episode like this where it's fan fiction, because we did have the ChatGPT write oh my god, not Ava Lance. I got distracted because of Ava.
My Rayla fic. Oh no, you did have it. You did have it right in Avatra's story.
Yeah,
it was weirdly weird. It got gay real fast.
So long.
And Kaitlynn, I don't even think you put that in the prompt.
No, but it did say they were friends at the end, and then I had to tell it that they were lovers, and then it quickly got really lesbian.
Once you tell it to go gay, it goes gay so hard
really fast.
It's almost.
Oh my god! I can still see all the things we did. So we also have Suki's big day out. That's Theora's dog. We've had some fun with this stuff. So it's definitely fun.
Yeah, that would be a really fun episode to do. I think we possibly could do that if anybody wants to see it. If not, we'll just keep our ChatGPT shenanigans to ourselves.
But I do have it. The title was called
to our Patreon.
Yeah, Patreon. You know what? Maybe either we will all read this, or I'll just read this and send it to you, because the title's called "The Light Within," a Avatra's story.
Yeah.
We'll share that on the Patreon. How's that?
Yeah.
It's good. All right. So yeah, become a Patreon for that.
Yeah.
All right.
We will be putting more content on Patreon.
Yes, we that was on our list of things to do, and everything blew up. So we promise. But okay, so that's what ChatGPT thought we were doing. So what were you guys up to?
I'm gonna go last because I think I'm the only person who actually consumed media.
Okay. Well, I was in the place that I go to when I have to actually escape from the world, but my brain does it in a really messed up way. It's the same concept as like when you're sad, you listen to sad music. But for some reason it makes me feel better. So I started, well, first of all, I got really deep into mechanical keyboards and custom mechanical keyboards, but I also started watching YouTube like nonstop, but like documentaries about China's economy and why certain banks have failed and things like, even YouTuber drama. There's a big one going on right now. Big one.
Who?
Illuminati.
Okay.
Anyway, if you know, you know. Moving on. I mean, she's queer, so I guess it kind of fits. But
there you go.
In any case, that's what I've been doing, and also just reading books. I've read some, nothing like really literary. I'll be honest with you, it's all been brain candy. So it's like I found this series that the second book just came out, and it's queer. It's a queer series about princesses that meet, queer princesses that meet other women, and then they fall in love. And then, I mean, it's like modern day, so it would be like if
let me know what that is.
Yeah, what is it?
I will, because they're actually really good. Faux show. So that's what I've been doing. Thee?
So yeah, I haven't really been watching media. Okay, I will say this until like kind of recently, but this is embarrassing. So my partner and I tried to watch Tar. And I say tried because we tried. We started watch. If you don't know what this movie is, it's like this. It's stars Cate Blanchett. It's a movie I've been dying to watch because Cate Blanchett, and it's queer, and it's about a real human being, Lydia. I think Lydia Tarr, who's a composer, a musical composer. But we got like 20 minutes into this movie, and then we had to stop because they were talking, like, it was Cate Blanchett and other people, and they were talking so technically about like composers and like music history and all this stuff that we paused it. And my wife's like, I feel like we were supposed to take a class before we watched this. I don't know what they're talking about. So we had to stop watching the movie because we were like, I don't know what any of these words are. But Cate Blanchett's lovely in it. But so I know that that's like a movie people love, but I tried. We will try again.
So if you took music theory in high school or college, this movie is for you.
Check out Tar. It's for like cinephiles too. It's one of those like doesn't explain, like leaves you hanging at the end kind of thing. And you have to like put it together.
Term.
File just means to love a thing. Anyway, so there's that. And then TV wise, we watched something called Betty. It's a HBO Max show. It's like an American TV show about these like Gen Z women, non-men, I guess, also in New York City, and they're like in the skateboarding scene. And so they're trying to like basically like break into like a male dominated area in like the skate parks and like all this stuff. And it's really good. That, I mean, I've not yet to be attached to a TV show since, they leave their own stuff, but it was good. It's like 30-minute episodes, easy to watch, many queer characters, and they touch on like pretty good type of topics, like the good guy, in a relationship who like does bad things, and like they handle like kind of like dark topics, but it doesn't go dark. So I appreciate that about the show. And like the lesbian in the show, if anybody has watched that show out there, I have one question. Maybe you have the answer. What on earth does Kurt do for money? Like, this girl never has money but lives in New York City, and you never see her working. And I'm like, or you don't know anything about her. Like, does she live with her family? Like, nothing. She just like couch surfs and stuff sometimes. So I don't know. Does she have a job? Is my question. I've yet to have
friends'
that answer.
money.
I don't. Maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure. But anyway, it's fun, and like I think the actors actually do the skateboarding, which is pretty cool. So there's a lot of like skateboarding shots. If you're into like watching that, it's a fun show, and it's not dark. It's very like light, even though they deal with some dark topics like SA kind of, or the lack of consent, or being gaslit by like partners and things like that. But they handle very nicely. We're in the process of watching a show right now called Rutherford Falls, which was suggested to me by a friend of mine. It was canceled. Only 2 seasons, so everything that's out is done. It's on Peacock. It's Ed Helms stars in it. He created it. It's a Michael Schur show. So he did like The Office, Parks and Rec. Like, he's famous. The Good Place. Excellent showrunner for comedies. And basically it's takes place in this town in America called Rutherford Falls, and like Ed Helms plays Nathan Rutherford, like a descendant of like the founder of the town, but it's a town that's very intermingled with its indigenous population, and it kind of like puts a whole spin on like who's stealing whose land, and like and it goes into like indigenous culture, and like the main character along with Ed Helms is like an indigenous woman. And so, and then his like Ed Helms is like I guess assistant. I don't really know. They don't define it. Bobby is like a non-binary character who's just awesome. Like Gen Z love this character. So it's a fun character. I mean, fun show. It's funny. It's very light, and it deals with, again, a serious topic in a comedy environment, and it's really great. Like I think the indigenous representation is really great. I've seen a lot of actors in it that are in things like Reservoir Dogs and things like that. So that's a good show. We're almost done with it, but unfortunately got canceled. But what's out there is really great. And lastly, for TV, the only thing that really gripped me was The Last of Us. I wasn't gonna watch it.
I'm also talking about that one.
No, we need to talk about that show on this podcast because it's a fantastic piece of media, and the main character is like a lesbian, I think.
Still waiting. I mean, to be fair, she's little right now.
No, it's based on a game series, and like the character canonically, like I think, is a lesbian in the game. So I think that is true. But anyway, that was phenomenal, and I highly recommend it to anybody. I'm surprised you watched it, Kaitlynn. I'm glad you watched it. I just
watched it.
It's so good.
Well, the thing is, Bella Ramsey, I first saw her
Bella Ramsey, love her.
Right before the pandemic in The Worst Witch, which is a kids show, but I like watching kids shows whenever I like want mindless stuff. And she was so good in it, and I loved it. So that's what I know her from. So immediately seeing her in this show, I'm like, well, that's not the kids show version of her anymore. But she's really good, and I'm so proud of her.
Oh, she's phenomenal. I knew her from Game of Thrones, where she played, I forget the character's name. I think Mormont was her family name or whatever. She was like the head of the whole family, and she's like 7. So like, and she played like a badass, like even then, like the Bear Clan, that was her role. So she's always been awesome. But yeah, Bella Ramsey is really great. And then the wonderful and beautiful ally Pedro Pascal is in it, and I love that man. And Nick Offerman shows up in episode 3, which, god damn it, that episode was so good. The Bill and Frank episode.
Yeah. I didn't give it my full attention. I should probably rewatch it again when I'm not doing other things. But I mean, of course, I will always like more gayness in that show.
Yeah, it's great. But it's a cool take. If you're not familiar with what it is, it's basically a take on like it's like a zombie apocalypse in a way, but like instead of like it being a virus that transmits through everybody, it's built off of this fungus that already exists now called it's Cordycephallus, I think is the genus name. That I talked about this actual fungus when we. Yeah, but that's what they call it in the show, but it's based off of a real thing.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, it's real. I talked about it in Motherland because the death cap, if you guys remember that death cap that Scylla creates, that exact hyphae fungus is from the zombie ant fungus, which is a cordyceps. So it's a real thing that
if you don't know what that zombie ants?
Yeah, this is a real thing. It's a fungus that infects the brains of the ants and changes the chemicals, and it manipulates the ant essentially to the top of like whatever foliage or fauna or
don't Google it. Don't Google it.
Yeah, and then it sprouts out through the head. So like it is a real and the formation is Scylla's death cap. So it's based on a real thing.
Let's be real. I would die immediately in an apocalypse, okay? So I know none of this stuff.
Yeah. So like I thought the premise was brilliant because I like this is already real. So if anything, this could happen. So it's kind of cool. There wasn't a huge focus on the zombies, which I thought was nice. It wasn't like jump scary or anything like that. It's very much a story about humanity in this situation. And so yeah, I thought it was a really good story and a good take on that whole thing. So I loved it. And it's queer. And they absolutely are getting other seasons because everyone in the world was watching this show. So there's
if they did not get another season, like literally everyone watched that show.
No, like when we talked about our Cancel Your Queers episode, like this is a show where literally everybody was watching it, so it got extra seasons. So yeah, HBO Max is killing it, really. So yeah, we definitely need to have an episode on that because there's a lot there. It's really fantastic. other than that, I've just been reading. So much reading. And I wanted to highlight a couple of my favorites. For Trans Right Readathon, I read Rainbow Island by Dennis Harnos. A friend of mine recommended this. This is a book that was helped them come to terms with like their trans identity, and I was reading it, and the protagonist Jason, who's a trans man, I was just like, this is my friend Pete, like the protagonist. I'm like, I understand why you like this book. This is literally you. But it's great for so many reasons. First of all, it's based off of a Tumblr post, and I'd love to talk to the author about that. It's based off a Tumblr post where some troll was basically like, oh well, the fact that like if you had an island and you put 2 gay men on the island or 2 lesbians on another island, like humanity would die off because they can't procreate, and like it snowballed into this whole thing. And Devin's like, yeah, okay, that's not how queerness works, and basically sets up that premise where it's like the Christian nation sends, like, for anybody who's identified as queer, like they find out, they basically like send you to this concentration camp, basically, which is like conversion therapy. They send you to conversion therapy, or you get to go exiled forever to Rainbow Island, is what it's called. Because they're like, oh, they'll just die off. They'll just die off on the island. That's more humane. That's more Christian. And they send them out there. And when Jason gets there, there's all breadth of queerness is there, including the aces. They have their own floating island that they built. And like they're bonded with like majestic eagles and all this. Like it's like the coolest thing ever. He's like, wow, everybody's like thriving and just living their best life. And then they're like, yeah, they forgot bisexuals exist. And so there's kids and like all this stuff. So it's amazing. And it's a very like hopeful kind of story.
So we need awesome. It right now.
We do. This is something actually like it made me feel better to read this because it's very like Devin really wrote it to be like there's hope. Like not everything's gloomy. Like we're better as a community kind of thing. And it's a really fun book. I thought it was really great.
And we will be talking to the author at some point.
I hope so. Yeah, we were supposed to talk to Devin before we went on hiatus. This book is really great. If you need something uplifting, it's short. It's like 200 pages. It's like very short. It's awesome. I want to find the legendary Tumblr post.
I want that island to exist.
No, the island sounds it sounds amazing. Like the premise starts off as like kind of fucked up, but then it's like about like again found family, being in your community, and how like you'll win at the end of the day. It's great. And like they're like pirates. It's just it's very great. Like you just have to read it. Everything about it will make you happy and smile and be proud to be a queer person.
Queer pirates are just a win.
No, like it's awesome, and like the Christian nation's afraid of them, and like and they fly the rainbow flag. It's just you have to read this book. It's fantastic. Another book that I really really love, fell in love with that the sequel is coming out, or the second book in the trilogy, is this, The Final Strife. I haven't talked about it on here, by Sarah Al-Rifi. I talked about it on Twitter. No, TikTok.
Theora, stop rubbing the books.
Do you hear it? Hardcover. Anyway, it's a beautiful book. Basically, it's about this like it's kind of like talking about like I don't know if that's colonialization, caste systems in like it's based on African/Arabian kind of like mythology, lore, history, and it's kind of built into its own world. Where there's 3 castes of people. There's like based on your blood. So there's like people with red blood, blue blood, clear blood, and they're kind of like stratified.
Blue blood?
Red blood at the top, blue in the middle, clear at the bottom. And clear people are called the ghostings. The red people are the embers, and I forgot what the blue people are called. But anyway, it's based about this like vampires. It's based on this plot where the blue blood group is infiltrating like the red blood group that's in charge of everything, and trying to like undermine them, because everybody looks the same, because everybody's black, like they look the same, so it's just the blood. So if you don't see the blood, you don't know that they're actually different, which is really fascinating. The only people who you do know is like the ghostings. They're maimed, like they have no tongue, no arms past their elbows, and it has to do with this like uprising. Sounds like Hunger Gamesy, right? There's an uprising 300 years ago, and so they're paying the crime for their ancestors. And like I got Frida in our Discord to read it with me, and like bless you, Frida, for like doing little book discussion with me on this book. It's incredible. Like the ghostings are super fast. You get into like why that really happened and like the whole lore, and just like it has one of the best enemies to lovers I've ever read. Like I didn't see it coming, and then when it happened and it's queer, and I was like, oh.
Thanks for the spoiler, Theora.
I love it. I love it. I mean, it's queer. Why else would I be talking about it?
I'm just kidding.
But it's so good. Like, I can't wait for the sequel. Battle Drum is coming out this month, I think. So very excited. It's a phenomenal book. Super, super great. And then last thing I was reading was, I think Bree knows this book, The Priory of the Orange Tree. Oh my god. It's 800 pages. It is an odyssey. All I will say is women, homosexuality, dragons.
Besides the dragons, it sounds like a Bree's written book of 800 pages.
Yes, and it's prequel. Just came out, A Day of Falling Stars, and I haven't started it yet. But women, homosexuality, dragons. Apparently, there's more dragons in this one, is what I've heard. So, like, check out Samantha Shannon. She's amazing.
Apparently, we like dragons here. How to Train Your Dragon.
We do like dragons here. So that's what I've been doing. I've just been reading. In the hiatus, I read a total of 13 books. And halfway done with the Sun.
Why I never would do well with book trivia.
I'm halfway done with the Sunbearer Trials right now, which is amazing piece of trans literature that is so much fun. It's like the Hunger Games, but with queer people starring a trans character in like Mexico, I think. And it's based on Mexican kind of mythology. It's so good. I love it.
Yeah, and that one sounds like something I would be interested in.
So that's it, Theora? Really, that's all you've done in your hiatus?
I've just been reading. That's all I've done queer media-wise.
It was a joke. Okay, well, while the other two don't like to get attached to things anymore, that's basically all I'm able and capable of doing. So, TV is everything to me. It's basically the only thing I can watch. I can't watch movies. I try sometimes. Sometimes I can get through it, but 30 episodes of television's easier than one movie.
I get that. It's like reading fan fiction versus a brand new book series, because it's like I kind of already know these people.
Yeah, I do. I just get to like read fan fiction a lot easier.
Yeah,
like I can get into habits where I'm reading probably the equivalent of 4 or 5 books a week because, but yeah, I like the continuation, knowing the characters and having to get to know different characters all the time. It's kind of exhausting.
Exactly.
So
totally.
One of our supporters has consistently talked about Grey's Anatomy and how much it means to them. I have never watched it because I thought it was too much of a time commitment because we're at season 19 now.
So it is a commitment, to be fair.
March. Hold on, when did I start therapy? In March. So around February something, I started Grey's Anatomy. And I finished it in 5 weeks. Which I think is the equivalent of 3.5 seasons a week.
Jesus Christ.
Maybe 4.
Damn.
How?
I watch it nonstop. I work from home.
How did you pay attention, though?
Well, I mean, I didn't, like, fully pay attention to everything. Like, not, like, it wasn't, like, I'm just sitting there watching it.
Right.
Because I had to do a couple things, at least. Ryan, don't listen to this. To show that I was working. So I watched that. And then I watched Station 19. Because I was told I had to. And then I'm like, well, I already watched those 2. And I found out that a character that I liked in Grey's Anatomy was in, like, at least half of Private Practice. So I went back and watched Private Practice. And then I was like, well, I kind of want to watch everything in order. So I started rewatching Grey's Anatomy. I was trying to watch that at the same time as Private Practice. And then I just kind of gave up because I didn't want to keep switching stories. And then I just binge watched Private Practice. And so let's see. Grey's Anatomy is at 19 seasons. Station 19 is on season 6. Private Practice had 6 seasons. I am now on season 9 of Grey's Anatomy again. And that's with barely watching it.
I didn't even make
weeks.
it that far. Like,
no.
I have a good excuse though, so
I did get very invested. It's really good. I can understand why it's gone so long. The beginning seasons were definitely a lot better. But are you guys okay if I talk about characters that are now? Like, it don't matter what I say?
I can't watch that show because they mess up surgery stuff all the time.
Okay, cool. Season 19 spoilers. I don't know. I think they might have brought them in 18. There's a non-binary character. And that show seems
I remember hearing about this.
That show seems to not be doing too well with queer characters and just representation in general. They broke the characters up. And I'm not caught up yet. I have a few episodes I'm behind. But it just doesn't seem like they take enough care into those characters like they did Arizona and Cali, and like they gave them some airtime, and then once they're gone, like it's non-existent. They have a queer character, a character who had a crush on Meredith throughout her entire internship and residency.
Poor thing.
And they've done nothing with her. That was all her storyline for her queerness. I'm hoping that they actually do something with that soon, because they keep hinting at things and then they don't do anything, and it's really pissing me off. And I know people like Karina and Maya in Station 19. I don't know about them. I want to like them so much. Maya pisses me off half the time. I don't know what's going to happen with them. Prior Practice is done. That was barely queer. Was it barely queer? Was that queer at all? That wasn't queer at all.
Who's the one that had what's the character that had a crush on Meredith? What's their name?
Karen.
Karen?
That's a
they named
name.
her Karen?
It's a terrible name.
Taryn.
Oh, Taryn. Okay,
that makes more
that's
sense.
only slightly better.
I was like, that's homophobic.
There is a new intern that they've been like hinting at, because Taryn's no longer a surgeon. Taryn works at the bar, works at Joe's, and is a bartender now. Because the intern program got shut down, the residency got shut down, and they had to come back, and now there's only one intern, one person from that whole class who's like, it's a mess right now. And I don't know, they're gonna have to work really hard to keep it going, because so many people left all at once, and it gives me, what season was it where they just changed? Oh, season 6, when they got rid of George and Izzy at the same time, basically, or very close together, and had all the merge and all the new people come in. It was just so vastly different that it's like such a hard transition, and so it kind of feels like that again. Oh, because Adelaide's in it now. And
yes,
Adelaide from Rain, who God, she's so intimidating in person. I don't know how you are able to speak to her.
She's not intimidating.
I know
tiny and adorable.
Is she tiny? I thought she was tall.
No, she's tiny and adorable. Like, I feel like I could throw her. She's not as tiny as... I had to
fix the Zoom, okay? And I walked into the room, and I couldn't speak to her.
Okay,
I was trying so hard.
Hold on. To be fair, I was when I was in close proximity to her, we were on a stage, so we were sitting down for that period of time. B, when we got off the stage, it was me, and then, why is my brain?
Rachel.
No, it was me, and then Adelaide, and then Rachel Scarston, who's taller than, like...
Oh, she's really tall.
Rachel's really tall. I couldn't say hi to her either. Even though
I think I've said hi. She just came for me and hugged me, and I was like, "You're adorable. Can I keep you?"
Yeah, they all seem really nice, but
yeah. She was just Adelaide was adorable, and I think just she was funny.
She's doing so well in the show. They set her up to be the new Meredith. I feel like especially in the beginning,
I could see that.
They gave her the same storyline as she slept with an attending, didn't know it. Came in.
Yep. She's got skills, that girl.
She does, and then Harry from Glee and Shadowhunters is in it with her. And they have a lot of scenes
IRL
together.
she's bisexual.
Yeah, it's really. Oh my god, guys, we've recorded for an hour.
Of course we did.
We don't do well with short
You met us?
Shut up. Everybody, the whole internet is used to me telling Bristol to shut up because of the Taylor Zoom thing.
Oh my gosh.
Let me get back to my notes real quick. Because that's not the... Okay, for a while, that was the only thing I've watched. And then I mean,
that was time-consuming. That's like, how many episodes? Like, 900 episodes of television?
Actually, no, now I have
Grey's is at least close to 200.
Grey's Anatomy is like at 488, I think.
Jesus Christ. So many episodes.
I now have to
look never. At it.
No. God, Shonda Rhimes, man.
I mean, it is... That show is the best out of all of the spin-offs. 417. And then... I'm looking... Private Practice, 111. Station 19 is at 93. They don't get as big seasons. They're, like, capped at 16 or 17.
So you're at, like, almost 700 episodes of TV.
Yeah, but then I rewatched Grey's Anatomy.
And Warrior Nun
like
has 2.
1,000. It's like 1,000 episodes of TV to rewatch. Yeah, to do all that.
Some of those episodes, they did not help with depression.
No, of course not.
Season 8 hit too close. Yeah, It was... When I get depressed, I tend to watch more TV. I also started watching the Junior Bake Off again.
Okay.
So how did you get into The Last of Us?
I knew I had to watch it because it was queer and I knew Bella. And everybody talks about it. And I was like, well, we're going to be figuring out... Can you not... Fine, you can come say hi. Sorry. This is Bristol. She's needy. Well, I've watched, like, Fear the Walking Dead, so, like, I've seen, like, that type of genre stuff before.
No, I'm just curious, because it's very, like, medical drama, fire drama. Like, it's a big jump to, like, zombie apocalypse. I'm just curious. And it's depressing, because apocalypse.
I think I just... felt like I should. It was time.
That's excellent.
It was time to watch it. Enough people, because I was gonna watch it as it was still airing, but I was too busy with Grey's Anatomy.
Fair.
Wait, what did... I lost it.
Anything else, Kaitlynn?
Yeah, I forgot what I watched. That was our old agenda. Okay, well, I don't remember where I put... Oh, that's because it's not in there. It's on my phone. Oh, Firefly Lane! That was the other one that I just binged and then cried my eyes out. And that was the most minimum count of gay you could have to make it slightly itty-bitty queer.
I don't know anything about that show. Like,
I know Katherine Heigl is in it, so I watched it.
Ah, there we are.
Yes, I found out why.
That makes sense.
We had this conversation before, and then as soon as I said that, you guys were like, "Oh yeah, that's why."
For the audience who may not know what that is.
Katherine Heigl plays Izzy in Grey's Anatomy, and when I first started watching Grey's Anatomy, Bree and Thee had to listen to me talk about how much I love her and how pretty she is. But
which is valid. So what is the minimum gay requirement in Firefly Lane? Did they like have a rainbow on screen or like...
No, very side characters, not very prominent, but I'm gonna spoil it as long as you guys are okay with it. No. It turns out that one of the leads... Can you not? Your sister can sit in the chair. Do not yell at her. Chair. Sorry. One of the lead's daughters is gay, and she's like so excited and like wants to talk to her about it. and then they just kind of leave it alone. So it's like not like this whole coming out thing, because they had to do that for her brother. And so he was married and they had to do that whole thing, and they got divorced, and then he ended up getting married. But at the last episode...
Wow.
Oh, okay. So this is like a huge spoiler for anybody who is watching it, hasn't finished, or wants to watch it later. So skip like a minute. The mom ends up dying, but her daughter gets married, and you don't hear anything about relationships for a while. But she gets married to a woman, and it's just so cute. And they make it seem like her mom's there, but really she died 10 years earlier, because it's like a time skip show. Like they go back to when they were little, to the 70s, to 2003. It was like the main, and then 2016, I believe. So it's very minimum, but it's good.
It's there.
It's good. I don't watch it for the queer stuff though, because it's not there.
Yeah, that's not enough. That's not enough to sustain.
I watched it for Catherine.
All right, well,
but yeah, that's basically it for what I can remember right now.
I just remembered a series I did watch, and I'm very angry about it.
All right, what is it?
I blame my mother for this. And
now is it British?
Of course it is.
Oh, I did watch a British show, actually, that's queer. I'll mention after Bree.
I can never remember the name of this show, but I always have to look it up.
Is it a drama?
Yes. About divorce lawyers.
Oh.
The Split?
Yes, thank you. I knew it was
I'm really good at Google.
So it's called The Split, and there's like one instance of queerness in this entire series that has like 3 seasons.
This is what we've come to, guys.
Anyway, and here's the thing. I would never have watched this show if I hadn't sat down one day and was eating and my mother was watching it, and then I start watching it and I see this character or this relationship between 2 characters in the show, and I'm like, that's me right now in my life. And so I couldn't stop watching it because I needed to know what happened between, like, okay, so I had this theory. I was like, this relationship is not going to happen because this, and this, and it never works out in my life. So that's why it's not going to happen. And so I told my mom that. And then we get to like the episode before the very last one. And it was too late to watch the next episode. So we're like, okay, we'll watch it tomorrow. And then my dumb ass went, and I couldn't stand it. I had to know something. So I went and looked, and I'm like, nope, they ruined it. Can't watch it. Can't watch the last episode. Can't watch it. So I told my mom, you can watch it without me. I know what happens, and I don't like it. So I was right, by the way. The character did not work out for that character.
You have to stay off Google. I had so many questions while watching Grey's Anatomy, and I'm like, you can't Google it! And then I tried Googling one, and then I ruined stuff for me.
But there was one instance of gayness, and it was this couple, 2 women who wanted to have a baby, and they were talking about using their friend's sperm, but turns out, or they thought that's what the lawyers thought they were talking about. But turns out they had created the baby naturally between the guy and one of the women. And it was a situation that spun out of control from there, and I hated it.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Okay, then.
Alrighty. So, I have a show I forgot that we watched. It is queer, it is sapphic. It's a period piece, so already you know where this is going. I think it's based on a true story, like this is real. It's on Amazon, on BritBox, that subscription. It's called Confessions of Franny Langton.
Oh, I saw that. I almost watched it.
Honestly, it's great. The lead actress is the acting's really great. Basically, Franny Langton is a Black woman who was kind of like enslaved, but grew up in the master's house, kind of thing. And so she was kind of like raised as like a white person, kind of like socially, in terms of like she was allowed to read and write, and she's the assistant essentially. And the reason they did that, she's the assistant to essentially this horrific doctor who essentially was trying to prove that Black people weren't human. And so he was doing all these experiments on people. And this is real. And so her confessions are based on the trial she gets put on. And like in the when she was like locked up, she basically wrote out her confession because she gets put on trial later, way later, for like murder, which is how it starts. And then it goes back and kind of explains everything. So she left these notes behind, and like, so this is a real account of like she was tried in England, and like these are her confessions, and like it is sapphic. It's really great. So you kind of like know up front like how this goes because English, right. Period piece. But other than that, like it's really good. It's a mini series, so like once it's done, it's done. Yeah, I thought that was really, really good.
For those of you at home listening and maybe watching because you can't see it, the little tippity tap says Suki. I can't being able to walk on the hardwood floor. It's fine. I just wanted to explain what it was.
That has Sophie Cookson in it. I love her.
Yeah, it's really good. Oh my god, Suki! It's 6 episodes. I think it's really short. It's awesome. Sapphic. There is sapphic stuff in it. Sapphic scenes. They do not lean into it. But the whole time, me and my wife are like, "Girl, it is the 1600s or whatever. What are you doing? 1800s. What are you doing?" They'll be like in public. We're like, this. "What are you doing?" Anyway, so history is gayer than
they're just gal pals, Theora.
History is gayer than at least. Oh no, there's like jealousy. There's all this stuff in it that's gay, and so, like yeah, like it doesn't end well. Mean,
like for the public, they're just gal pals.
No, like it's good. There's plenty of gay stuff in it. There's like ex-girlfriend. Like just go watch it. It's great.
I will do that because you know me and British television. But then
Bree loves it. That's all we hear about.
You add the queerness, and then which I still need to get my mother to watch. Oh my god, what the hell is that freaking
Happiest Season?
No, hell no. I hate you right
Dairy
now.
Girls.
How dare you bring that? No, she watched that. Like she freaking watched that before
I still haven't seen that one.
That's so good.
No, it's starts with a V. I keep wanting to say Virgil, but it's Vigil with Saran Jones.
Oh, Saran Jones. Yeah, I still need to watch that.
So good.
I love
you need
Saran
to watch
Jones.
it. You'll. I think both of you would. I think you'll especially enjoy it. It is queer and very good, and they're doing a second one.
Yeah, it's getting a second season.
I'm excited to see what happens, considering where they left off with the gays, with the queer ladies.
I forgot a show. It's not okay. It's just like a quick thing. If you like Grey's Anatomy, watch New Amsterdam because I love that one more than Grey's Anatomy, and it gets slightly queer, but it's also ending. It also ended, so it's not on anymore.
How sad that it gets slightly queer.
It's like you take what you can get. I didn't watch it because I thought it was queer. So when it turned to queer, I was really excited.
It was a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, that was my experience with The Haunting of Bly Manor and why I will always love it, because I didn't know it was queer and then watched it and was like, holy shit, this is the best thing.
It's always the best, actually, because when you're not really expecting queerness.
Yeah, I will talk about it on an episode one day. I absolutely love that.
I still need to watch it.
Michael Flanagan and his gays. I love it.
Any other updates, or should I close it out?
Nope. I think that's quite enough queerness and updates. If you made it this far.
Never enough queerness.
No, there isn't enough. That's why we're talking about stuff with slightly queer. That's why I've been reading books that are just straight up gay.
All right. Well, if you have watched or consumed any of the media we have just talked about or anything at all, just hit us up, because I'm sure we would all love to fangirl about it with other people. And if you want more ChatGPT generated stories, please let us know.
Yes.
Or else we'll just have fun on our own. But it's not as fun because we like to share.
Send us prompts.
Them. Oh yeah. Send us prompts. Send us the craziest prompts you can think of, and we'll see what we can do with it.
Give us like the pair, like who's the couple, like what fandom is it, and then like what's your prompt, or just give us that piece. Like, what do you want them to do? Do you want them to do what was the name of that escape room? Closet Confessions or whatever?
Chronicles. Closet Chronicles.
Yeah, whatever. Like, send us a pairing and a situation, and we'll see what ChatGPT says about it.
Or you could just do a random pairing. Like, that's not even canon. We'll see what ChatGPT can do.
Yeah, totally. It can be whatever the hell you want.
That'll be exciting. Right. Well, it's nice to see you guys again and talk to everybody at home. I hope you like this episode.
Yeah, follow us on all the things, all the social medias, like Twitter, TikTok, Instagram.
Resubscribe to YouTube.
Yeah, I was gonna say subscribe to those things or join our Discord. We'll announce when the episode is the next episode will come out. That's not an update; it's more of an episode. So just stay tuned. We'll announce it on all those things. So like,
definitely join the Discord. So many people would want to talk.
Yeah, and join the Discord where there's always queer media talk going on, or just whatever talk going on. And again, we'll announce it in all of those places. In the meantime, if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, like please subscribe. Having subscribers helps us get monetized and be all legit and stuff. If you listen to our episodes on Apple or Spotify, please download the episodes. That's how they kind of like count how many people are listening in the metrics, and again, that helps us keep our credibility and like keep our like sponsorships and all that kind of stuff going, so that we can keep bringing you super fun media when our brains let us. If you'd like to support us financially, if you can and want to, like, please consider becoming a Patreon. I think we have tiers as low as like $2, $5.
$2 you is just supporting us. With $5 you start getting content.
Yeah, we upload our episodes early on there. We upload exclusive content on there. ChatGPT stuff coming soon. So thank you guys. If you're still supporting us through this hiatus, we're sorry that this wasn't announced. It kind of came out of nowhere. We didn't really give you a heads up, but we hope in this episode we kind of explained a little bit about like what happened and why. And we will keep this Big Gay Energy podcast going in the future. This is not the end. We are not Netflix. We'll be back.
Until
next time. Thank you all for your support. We will see you again.
Bye.
And with that, we've been Big Gay Energy. If you like this episode, check out all our other episodes right here on YouTube. Please leave a comment below, and subscribe for more amazing, super gay content.
If you'd like to support us, check out our merch store, or join our Patreon for early access to episodes, exclusive content, and so much more.